Courtesy Jordan. I'm, of course, Jordan. This is Navi the cat. Say hi, Navi.
Hello.
Navi, saying hi. So today we're going to be playing something a little bit different, a little bit more obscure. In fact, I'm willing to bet most of you haven't even heard of this game, although you've probably almost certainly heard of its namesake, the movie Small Soldiers by DreamWorks. This is Small Soldiers Squad Commander. I just love it when these old PC games came in these giant boxes and all that was really housing them was a little jewel case. Small Soldiers Squad Commander was developed for the PC in 1998 by DreamWorks Interactive and was published by Hasbro Interactive. So while the movie Small Soldiers is a great family film that's now fondly looked back on, the game basically flew entirely under the radar. It was one of those things where either you played it at the time or you've never even heard of it. Basic concept of Small Soldiers is that you've got these toy soldiers come to life, kind of like in Toy Story, only it takes a military slant on it. You've got these two warring factions, the Commando Elite and the Gorgonites. The Commando Elite, which are fighting for dominance, and the Gorgonites that are just fighting for survival and to live in peace and harmony. So basically what Squad Commander is it's a real-time strategy game, something in the vein of StarCraft, at least in terms of its functionality. However, it is what you might call a children's game. It's a significantly watered-down version of what you as an adult might be used to playing. And they do kind of scale back a lot of the depth. It doesn't have a lot of the features typical of RTS games, such as building up a base and resource management. It's mostly about the tactics of the offense and trying to make your way through the levels, get to an end objective, and destroy the enemies that you find along the way. You can even see right there on the box that it's recommended for ages 8 and up, so clearly this isn't something recommended for a mature audience. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of fun to be had. So on that note, let's check it out.
So, with the wise and courageous leadership of Archer, the Gorgonites halted the spread of Commando colonization on the peaceful mining planet of Zabrigard 4. And don't come back, or we'll be forced to give you more of the same. The Commando elites will never surrender until this ugly hunk of rock is ours!
Kevin, get a move on. You're late already.
Okay, I'm coming.
Wise and courageous Archer. Ha! What he meant to say was weak and cowardly.
Strength and courage are not measured in the conquest of innocent creatures. That is not the Gorgonite way.
Don't touch me, Gorgonite! Your cheap plastic may mar my uniform.
My apologies, Major Hazard. Do forgive me.
Forgiveness is futile! You're finished, Gorgonite!
We shall see about that, Commando aggressor!
Ooh. Alright. For anybody who thinks that they may have recognized the voice of Ship Hazard there, that is Tommy Lee Jones doing the voice. Of course, he did the voice of the same character in the movie as well. But for some reason, he's the only one who came back over from the movie. All the other characters are now voiced by different actors. But still pretty cool that he did the game. Anyway, so here, we don't really need to change any of our settings. I think we'll just leave it all to the defaults. And then obviously you can check out videos that you've seen before. Obviously I've played this game before, so I've got all the videos unlocked already, so I won't spoil any of that for you. So we'll just go straight into play. So here's the deal. You get to choose between either the Gorgonites or the Commandos. So we'll go through both. We'll start with the Gorgonites, and then we'll do the Commandos after we're finished with that. So we'll select them. You see, if you select the Commandos instead, you know how the intro started with them going at each other's throats, so this sort of continues on that same sequence depending on which side you choose, which is kind of neat. And we're going to go with beginner, even though it's really kind of overly easy. Expert is really what I recommend you play, because this game is most fun when you increase the challenge. And you might have noticed too that it was on expert by default. Frankly, I don't want this series to be any longer than it's already going to be, so I'm just going to do beginner to try to keep it as short and sweet as I possibly can. Most of the same principles that I'm going to show you are going to apply the same way in expert anyway. The only real difference is that in expert, enemies have more health and they do more damage, but everything else is essentially the same. So anyway, here we go. We're going to start off with Gorgonites, and here we go.
Now your chin is as broken as your world domination plan. Perhaps I have overstated our position. Flanfist, Insaniac, where are you?
We're under here, protecting the, stuff.
Gorgonite kinsman, we must strengthen our opposition to these pillagers to reclaim this residence. The spread of Commando domination must not take hold.
Alright, so as we begin the game, we're kicked out here onto a map of the street. Now, we don't know it yet, but eventually what our ultimate objective is going to be is, see here, we're starting out on this house here in the neighborhood, and we're going to eventually gradually make our way all along the street, kind of hitting all these buildings along the way until finally we get to this last building where our final mission is going to be. The game is structured in a series of campaigns. Each faction, the Gorgonites and the Commandos, each of them have a total of 5 campaigns, and the campaigns can consist of anywhere between 1 to 3 individual missions with individual objectives. By default, the first campaign for both factions is just a single mission long, and naturally that's just to ease you into it and kind of show you the ropes. So we're going to select the one and only mission available to us. Later on, once we get access to a choice of multiple missions, you can do them in any order that you please. But again, we only have the one for now. So, Townhouse of Trouble. So, home of Kevin Butler. And our objectives are to fight our way to the family office and power up the computer, track the location of additional team members. So here we go. Okay, so off the bat, we've got 3 of our toy soldiers here. We've got
Ready to defend.
Archer,
Yup.
Slam Fist,
Yeah, what do you want?
and Insaniac. Down below here, this is our toy chest. You can think of this kind of like our base. This is where our toys spawn from when we want to create more. See there written is number 8. That denotes how many more soldiers, toys that we can create before we run out. However, you also notice over here max team size. We have 8 in reserve, but we can only have 3 active on the board at any given time. So right now, if I double click on our toy box, your team is already full, so you can see I can't create any more. Just to give you a quick rundown too of what you're seeing here, this is the main map area. This is where all the action of the game obviously takes place. By moving the arrow to the edges of the screen, you can move around the map, and you'll see most of what you're seeing right now is just black anyway, and that's the fog. Some games call it the fog of war, and that's simply because we haven't explored those areas. The fog gradually recedes as you explore more and more of the map. However, unlike other real-time strategy games, the fog doesn't return once you've retreated from an area. The black remains permanently unveiling, or I should say revealing that part of the map permanently. So that from that point on, you can actually attack some parts of the map that toys can't even physically see, which we'll get into a little bit later. But for now, I'll give you a little bit more info. Oh, well, up here obviously is the mini-map. Again, pretty standard for RTS games. white rectangle there shows specifically the area of the map that you're viewing in your big main map here. And like I said, you can move around by pushing the cursor to the sides, the edges of the screen there. You can also grab and drag the rectangle, or you can just quickly click anywhere in the mini-map to teleport instantly to that part of the map that you want to see. So now, to make things happen, you can select a character here just by left-clicking. Almost everything in this game is left-clicking. There's very little other interaction other than left-clicking. There's you can hold a shift on the keyboard every once in a while and right-click to just deselect, but almost everything is a left-click. Also, before I show some actions here, I'll show you can do this. You can double-click on a character and it shows you some of their stats. So that you know what the difference is between all the different characters. I really like this too, how it shows like a toy packaging if you were going to buy it in a store. That's pretty neat. So it gives you a little bit of bio, shows their speed, vision, attack, range, attacks, power, and health points. Actually, the characters actually have two other stats that for some reason this little bio here doesn't list. But if you read the manual, if you read the instruction booklet, then it'll detail it there. The other two attributes that aren't listed are your attack rate. So, for example, you might have a character that has a high attack power rating, but it might not necessarily count for as much as you think it does if they attack really slow. So each hit is doing a lot of damage, but they don't manage to get out enough hits fast enough. So you can do a little bit of math to work out what's better to your advantage. The other attribute is a little bit more significant one than that. I'm really surprised that they didn't list this one. It's your throwing power. In addition to your main attack, you can also find certain explosives in the game, and you can use those to throw. There's three types: firecrackers, cherry bombs, and grenades, and they all work exactly the same. They just have varying destructive power. But each character has a specific range in which they can throw objects. Some characters have really crappy throwing arms. They have to be really close in order to target something with a thrown explosive. And other characters, can inversely have really great throwing arms and can throw an extremely far distance. And so, again, you'd know if you read the user manual. Otherwise, just by playing the game and experimenting, you can find it out. But anyway, so Archer here is our sort of main bread and butter unit. He's sort of a generalist, good in basically all areas. Very well-rounded character, and he's also the leader of the Gorgonites, so it figures. And then we've got Insaniac here. So you can see bad vision, and attack range is a little bit worse. Attack power is about the same, but he can take a little bit more of a beating, and he's faster as well. And then Slam Fist. So this guy here, you'll see attack range is only a 1. That's because he is a melee character. He slams people, well, as his name implies, Slam Fist with his big boulder hand. So that's one disadvantage, that he's got to be right up to them in order to hit them. But of course, he's got a full 10 on attack power, so that helps to offset it a little bit. Of course, he's also, as I mentioned, one of those characters that has kind of a slow attack rate. That boulder is really heavy, and so it's slower to unleash. But and you can also take a lot more damage. Anyway, you get the point. Also, you can access that, as I mentioned, by double-clicking them, or you can also double-click on their portrait there when you've got the character selected. You can just do that, or not double-clicking on it, just one. Oh yeah, double-click. Never mind. Also, you'll notice too by clicking just once, the little reticule around them that denotes that they're selected turns red. So maybe if you've got a bunch of characters that are the same type, and you want to get exactly just one, you can just outline them really quick like that. And then again, right-clicking deselects them, or you can hold down Shift and click them to deselect them. Again, this is all very standard for RTS games if you're at all familiar with it. You'll also notice too that next to their portrait is a picture of their weapons, so that shows what they use. They can only ever use the same weapon. You can't really switch out weapons. But in the third slot here, that's sort of their backpack slot, where you can carry an additional item there. So it could be a weapon, or it could be just a general item to help you get through the game, like a key, for example. You can only ever hold one item in your backpack at a time. So you either have to use up that item, or else you can double click it to drop the item, and that'll open up the slot for you to carry something else. You can select multiple units at a time, obviously, so you can do the elastic band method, which is to just kind of drag a box around them and it'll select everyone that was selected in the box. See now here I left click there by accident, didn't really mean to do that, but you can see that gives you an idea of how they move. You just left click where you want them to move and they will move directly to that spot. Again, very standard stuff. I keep, oftentimes when I'm playing this game, I sometimes accidentally right click and click off them, because like in a game like StarCraft, you want to right click to do that. You'll press A and then left click, and that'll have them attack a specific area. But again, in this game, it's more simplified than that. It's all left clicking. Anyway, we'll get on more with the game here. So here we've got a pickup item. Now with all these characters selected, if you just click on a pickup item, they'll all go for it. So whichever character gets to it first will be the one to pick it up. So if you want a specific character to get it, you'll have to click off, deselect all your guys, or you can hold shift one at a time to deselect them. That's the other selection method too. You can hold down shift and select them one at a time, or deselect them. So I'll just get to Archer here to pick up this firecracker. And now it's in his backpack. So I'm not going to use it just yet, but you can see by clicking it, selects it, and then for that particular item, you click again where you want it to either be used or dropped, or in the case of a throwable explosive, where you want it to be thrown to. If it's within this character's particular throwing range, then he'll just throw it. If not, he will walk towards the target until he is within range, and then we'll toss it. I'm going to right click so that I don't accidentally throw it.
Ready to defend.
And on that note, I think we basically got enough information to get going from here. So let's move on with the level here. So first, we're stuck in this kind of room here. So a big kind of strategy to this game is kind of take it slow. See, I got maybe a little bit too close to our first enemy here, so I clicked back here just to avoid running into him by accident. You do, especially if this is a brand new game to you and you don't really know what's going on in the level, you want to take it slow, because you never know what's going to be around any corner. Potentially can be an enemy. So we're going to get just a little bit closer. We drew his attention, so we're going to click on him to attack him. Just isn't my day. And so you can see they all sort of auto-attacked him. If enemies are in the area and your units are within attacking range and you don't click on them, sometimes they will begin to auto-attack them, but if you want to command them manually to attack, you'll have to click right on the actual enemy there. Now, we got another firecracker here, so we'll get them there now. Slam Fist picked it up. I actually don't want Slam Fist to have this. Slam Fist has a really bad throwing arm, so I'm going to get him to drop it, so we'll double click it, and we're going to get Insaniac to pick it up. We'll have to move here to the corner here. It's a good strategy, again, to kind of move far away as we can, just to see around the corner here. Probably best to have Archer lead, because Archer of these three has the best vision, so he can uncover most of the fog here. There's another guy down here. Now this particular guy here, I'll click off for a second, and you can see here I can click on these guys to show their green health bar there. You can see obviously these guys have green health bars that go down to yellow and then red, and then finally empty out entirely once their health is depleted. So this guy has really bad vision, so he can't even see us. So we're going to take advantage of that by using some of our throwable explosives. Always use throwable explosives if you can get away with it, because then you can just avoid the fight altogether and preserve your unit's health. So we're going to target this guy. The targeting in this game is kind of funny. Because of the isometric viewpoint, sometimes it looks like you're targeting a guy, but it ends up blowing up like kind of just behind him, sort of, if you know what I mean. So like if you target like his head here, what it's actually targeting is like sort of the floor right behind him. So just to be on the safe side, kind of target like a little bit lower, like around his midsection, kind of, to make sure that you're hitting him right square in the body there. So throw that. Boom. click off here to make sure, just to see what we did. See, we did quite a substantial amount of damage. And Insaniac here also has a firecracker, so we'll get him to throw it. If we wanted to, we could drop it and just get Archer to throw it again, but Insaniac's throwing arm is still good enough, and Kip Killigan's vision is really bad, so I still don't think that he'll be able to see it coming. Got it. Alright, down here we got a key. We need the key to get out of this door here, so we'll get the key to Insaniac, have him come right up, and use the key on the door to open it. There we go.
As you
Here.
wish.
Oh, okay, we're under attack right away, so we're gonna attack our friend Chip Hazard here. And then quickly over here, we're also under attack by a Butch Meathead, who's a sniper. Now, we lost our Insaniac. So, it's best to always have your team size maxed out. There's not really any disadvantage to it. There's just no reason not to. So now that we lost a character, we'll replace him. So now we can go back to our toy box and spawn a new toy. Now you'll notice there's a total of 6 toys to pick from, but to start the game we only have access to those 3 by default. The other characters we have to unlock later as we go. Insaniac, while he's a good character, personally I don't really recommend using him after you've lost him. I recommend going either Archer or Slam Fist. Personally, I prefer Archer.
Ready to defend.
As long as we've got like one Slam Fist to kind of be a tank for now, and he goes up real close to do the melee attacks against enemies, he tends to draw their fire, while the your other archers stay back and fire from afar, and they still do a pretty decent damage. Now here we got some traps over here. These are mouse traps. Destroying these causes a big explosion. For that reason, you want to use either throwable explosives or just a ranged attack. If I were to use Slam Fist to destroy these, he would almost certainly get blown up himself, or at least sustain a not insignificant amount of damage. So I'll just select one of my archers here and target the mousetrap.
As you wish.
We'll target this one here.
It shall be done.
This one here. A few more.
As you wish.
Now here's another type of throwable explosive, a cherry bomb. Again, works exactly the same as the other ones. This one just does even more damage than the firecracker, so that's a valuable item. Now here we've got our first one-up, or man-up extra life item. What this item does is it instantly clones the character that picks him up. So basically we have archers and a Slam Fist, so those are our only options right now to clone. So if I wanted to clone a Slam Fist, I would have to get him to pick up that item. I think I could deal with another archer myself, so I'm going to select him and select the clone item.
As you wish.
Boom, just like that. You'll also notice that now our max team size has been increased to 4. So from now on I can get as many as 4 toys at a time. You'll also notice that the new cloned archer, it's only the character that got cloned. None of the items. I didn't get another cherry bomb with them. Also, I didn't get into this just yet, but I will just now. Just around this corner here, there's some power-ups here. I'll get to this guy here in a minute, but these two guys are weapon upgrades. And you can upgrade a character's weapon up to 2 times. So you can either, in this case, I could give both to a single character, or one to one character and the second to a second character. I think I'm going to give them both to the same guy, so I get a really strong attack. So you see here, I'll pick up 1.
It shall be done.
And now over my weapon portrait here, you'll see +1. And naturally, when I pick up the other one, I will get a +2.
As you wish.
All right. Now this guy here is also a one-up item. This is the second type, unlike the clone item that gives you a second toy on the fly. This one adds a toy to your toy box reserve. So right now, you'll see we have 7 toys in our box left. When we get a character to pick up that item, now it has been increased to 8. Alright, we'll pick up this other firecracker here, and now we'll get our team kind of consolidated. It's usually best to move your whole team together, unless you're trying to move around some tricky obstacles. Then you'll probably only want to move one at a time. But for now, there's safety in numbers. We can't cross this barbed wire here, so we're going to move up this way. And maybe move up just an inch up a little bit now. There's going to be, I know because I've played the game a lot, but there's going to be a chip hazard right here. So
Sure.
we'll try to sneak up on him if we can. Chip has really good vision too, so it's kind of hard to sneak up on him, but
It shall be done.
Archer has really good vision too. And he's got a pretty decent throwing arm as well.
It shall be
So
done.
he should be able to, there we go, avoid a confrontation with him. Now, the next type of item that we're encountering here, batteries. Batteries are your health power-ups. They come in 3 sizes, red, yellow, and over here there's a green one that we can't quite get rid to yet. But as you might expect, yellow is a red is a 25% health increase. Yellow batteries are a 50% increase, and green batteries are a full health restore, 100%. Also unique to the red batteries is that after a certain period of time, I'm not really sure exactly how long it takes, a few minutes, but after a certain time interval has passed, the red batteries actually will replenish themselves. Unfortunately, not the yellow or the green ones, but the red ones do reappear. So now, here's our next obstacle. Well, first we've got another firecracker here, so we'll pick that up.
It shall be done.
Now, this door here, instead of having a key needed to get through, there's a pressure plate. So we need a character to be standing on it to open the door. But of course, as soon as he steps off,
It shall be done.
door closes. Now, I could just leave one toy behind while I move the other guys through, but that's not really optimal. What would be much better is to substitute the weight with another object. Well, wouldn't you know it, there happens to be a weight here. I doubt very much it's actually 3 tons, as it says, but anyway, get a character here that has a free backpack slot,
As you wish.
pick the item up, and simply place it where you want it to go.
Shall be done.
Pretty straightforward.
It is
Alright,
ordered.
our little team moving in here. There's going to be a guy coming up, a brick bazooka.
It shall be
This
done.
guy is a real hard ass, so
It shall be
what
done.
I'm going to do is I'm going to have my slam fist out front
Sure.
Ready to defend.
as he ambushes us and hit him real quick as soon as we can. See here, he's taking the brunt of the force while the archers just take him out from afar, and they're mostly unscathed. Now this guy took a little bit of damage, so I'm going to have him go back and grab that red battery. Batteries are not exactly rare, but more scarce than you'd like, so you want to try to use them up as smartly as possible. Whereas my slam fist here took more significant damage, so I'm going to give him one of these yellow ones here. I'm going to get the yellow one from back afar, so if I need to get the other one, I don't have to go as far back.
Sure.
And now, on the other side of the toilet here, see, now we're in the fridge. On the other side of the toilet, there's going to be another brick bazooka. He has pretty bad eyesight, so again, I'm going to see if I can kind of sneak up on him. See, there he is there, but he can't see us just yet. So I'm going to toss a firecracker his way.
It shall be done.
Unfortunately, Brick Bazooka has the best defense stat of any of the Commando Elite, so that naturally didn't even really have a chance of taking him out, but it's just going to weaken him a little bit. Now this archer here has a firecracker. Let's see which one he is here. He's this one there, so I'll get
It
him
is Archer.
to move over next and
It shall
toss
be
him
done.
that way. And now
Yup.
As you wish.
we'll assault him full on.
As you wish.
Alright, that was pretty effective.
It is
Now we got
Archer.
lots of batteries in. We're almost near the level anyway. This is a pretty short level, again, just to give you the basics here. So I don't really have to worry now about conserving the batteries too much. I can afford to be a little bit more frivolous. So I'll just grab one of these yellow ones here to top myself off. Add another toy back to my toy box. And here, I'll grab my archer here to pick up that firecracker. Now this is another one of those explodable hazards, kind of like the mouse traps. When you blow them up, they do damage to everything in the area, so it's best to attack them from with a ranged
It shall
attack.
be done.
And this will blow a hole right in the wall, so we can continue to get through. Also, this is just a little fun thing. You don't have to do this, but you can actually flush the toilet for some reason. I don't know why that was
As you
included,
wish.
but I don't know. It is a kid's game, so I guess it's kind of funny. I don't know.
As
Anyway,
you wish.
we'll come through here, and I think there should be a Nick Nitro hiding here in the corner. That guy is kind of scary because he's got really good defense values, and he does the most damage of any Commando Elite. So we're going to want to take him out as quickly as
As you
possible.
wish.
Get in
Shall
there
be done.
and take him out quick.
Snuffed out.
Okay. So,
shall be done.
we're almost at the end here. We're going to give
is
this
Archer.
archer here the full
It shall
battery,
be done.
and we'll give the slam fist this
Sure.
yellow battery here. Almost at the end. And now this switch here, these switches you find every once in a while, just by activating it, it will automatically activate the door. And there's all kinds of different types of switches. Some switches activate just by throwing the switch. Others you might have to activate with an object of some kind. But if you want to know what the switch activates, you can always just trace sort of that copper wire to whatever it appears to be attached to. So this switch obviously is activating this door here. These type of switches too, you can actually hit them multiple times to open and close the door manually. And if you can actually manage to catch an enemy unit in the door while it's opening or closing, you can actually destroy them instantly. So don't be afraid to attempt to use that to your advantage as well, and use your brain instead of just always going straight in and rushing to attack. Anyway, to also, it's kind of an interestingly designed level, because they want to teach you that also from the outset, because as you'll see, as soon as we open this door,
That's easy.
there was a guy, you didn't see it, but you could hear it, there was already a guy standing there, and died as soon as the door got opened. But also, as you can see here, you can open and close it as you like. However, also bear in mind, though, that applies to your own units. If you're moving these three guys through, and then something happens and you panic and you get another guy and you hit the switch again by accident maybe or something, and the door swings closed, any of your own units are getting instantly scrapped as well. So be aware of that. Alright, we're moving into the final room here. Now you're going to see here we got a couple of enemy guys here, and an enemy toy box, or they're referred to as enemy toy generators. They kind of like the enemy's base, and they can continue to generate more toys even after all the ones in the area have been destroyed. So you want to take these guys out definitely as fast as you can to make sure that the units, your enemy units, don't continue to replace themselves. Finally, here we are at the end objective here. We got some TNT blocking our route. And this also shows the idea that there are multiple levels too. Sometimes, even though it is an isometric view, you have to use, stairs and stuff like that in order to get up to the higher level. You see, I can't just click there and go, and this is blocking my my route here. So again, we can use a ranged attack to take those out, or if it gets to if you happen to find yourself in a situation where you don't have any characters left that have ranged attacks, you can use a throwable explosive. I think there's one hiding back here. So, like, let's say you only had slam fist or something, and there's a cherry bomb hidden back there just for such a purpose, so that you can take rid of that TNT without risking killing yourself. Boom. And then we'll get our pal Archer here to activate the switch, activate the computer, and complete the level. Powered up the computer.
Outstanding! We're safe in the office, and I know my way around here.
Alright.
Jackpot, the family computer. Let's log on and track the signal location of some of our brothers.
What if we can't find them? What if it's just us?
And your boulder's putting in some overtime.
Hey, stop your shoving.
Here we are. I've located Punch-It, Freakenstein, and Ocula. Unfortunately, they're completely outmanned by those weapon-clad barbarians. The Commando initiative is spreading rapidly. By now, they've established bunkers and supply stockpiles. Come on! We've got to halt this invasion before it takes hold!